What are the basic tools you think anyone that wants to start drawing should have?
Just have your pencil and your paper. So if you can understand where the light is coming from or pointing at on that shape, you can actually make it realistic. That's the secret. But first of all, start with lines. Go to the shapes.
Now we're looking at art, exploring the art of pencil drawing for aspiring artists. Now, pencil drawing is one of the oldest and most versatile forms of visual art. It offers a unique way to express creativity, hone technical skill, and explore the nuances of light, shadow, and form. Now, whether used for quick sketches or highly detailed finished pieces, pencil drawing remains a foundational medium for both beginners and seasoned artists alike. Its simplicity, accessibility, and wide range of expressive possibilities makes it a timeless form of artistic expression. Now, today on the entertainment segment, we have a professional, hyper-realistic graphite and charcoal artist, Udiega Chidindu Favor. Hello, Chidindu.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming and miss it all. You came. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, Chidindu, we saw, we read out your profile there, and it really is a very robust profile for a 20-year-old. Chidindu is just 20 years old, and at 20 he's already achieved a lot. But tell us about your growing up years in Ajegunle. You know, tell us what it was like.
Okay. So first of all, I grew up in Ajegunle, the city of Lagos. It's actually a bustling city where we have young, talented creatives all around the world. Yeah, I started drawing while I was in secondary school. During my formative years, as she said, I started drawing in secondary school, right, during my school time. Yeah, but then drawing was not something I really discovered on time, right, because I really loved football. But during my time in school, I actually took out time to start learning how to draw. So Ajegunle is actually a place where a lot of people actually desert it. We look at it as a place, a locality where people are not valued there, right? But then, coming from Ajegunle, right, I have that inspiration and that vision, you know, to push more and to really bring out the best, because there are a lot of talented people that have not yet been discovered in the city, right? So it's that drive, give me that drive, you know, to really put out the best in what I do.
Ajegunle gave you that you know, a lot of emerging talents come from Ajegunle, which we've all seen. I mean, you can talk about so many people that Ajegunle has birthed, and you know, they are successful in what they are doing. Now, let's talk about how you learned to draw. How did you learn how to draw?
Okay, for me, drawing was not really a thing, all right, because, you know, my parents, they didn't really buy into the idea of drawing. I didn't take drawing as something professional, right, because in the school, right from the primary school, that's where I discovered drawing, right, because we usually draw stick figures, cartoon characters, and some other things in class during those years, right. So I was like, okay, these guys are doing amazing things. Sometimes I look at their books, or their sketchbooks, and I'll be like, how do you draw Superman like this? He looks very real, and you know, it looked like what I watch on the TV. I was just very curious. That's just the word. I was very curious at that young age, you know. So a friend of mine in primary school, yeah, that was primary school, I believe primary 5 or primary 6. A friend of mine, he was like, it's very simple. You just follow the lines, do this, do that. I was like, oh wow, okay, let me try it. And I tried it out, and to be honest, it went well, and I was like, oh wow, so I can do this, you know. So from there I started pushing more effort into it. But then when I got into secondary school, I didn't push forward in art. Like, it was not something I really went into. I left it during my primary school days, you know, because while in secondary school the focus was focus on your studies, do other things, right? But then I really didn't do pencil drawing while I was in secondary school, especially while I was at home. You know, my mom and my parents, if they see me drawing at that moment, they'd be like, you're really wasting your time, focus on this, you have to be a doctor, or this and that, you know. Yeah, I was just doing part-time actually, but then after the secondary school, my secondary school days, that was in 2020, that was when I really rediscovered this passion, and it was in a very unique way. A way I never believed I would actually discover it, or, you know, see it as. Right, so during the COVID-19 period, that was when I actually went online and I stumbled upon some hyper-realistic pencil artists all around the world. And I was like, wow, okay, these guys are doing it with pencil. And yeah, I have all the time in the world. It was the lockdown, so I have all the time I really needed at that moment. So I said, why not just, you know, go into it and, you know, learn something from it, or just try out to see if something can actually come out from this particular thing, you know. So I just actually explored it during that period of time.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, interesting. It just shows. I've seen your work on the screen. It's really, really good. It's really good. It's exceptional, especially with the detail. The detail, like the detailing is wonderful. Tell us about your expression. We've seen you talk about pencil, charcoal, graphite. What's your medium of expression?
For now, at the moment, I use basically graphite and charcoal. Right, I was in a conversation with some friends a few weeks ago, and we were like, they are all professional pencil artists, and we were like, why did we even go into pencil artists? Why did we start drawing with pencils? And we were like, for some moments, we were thinking, and it just came up like, that was what we had at the moment. We didn't have paint, we just had pencils everywhere, you know. So we had that opportunity to just explore with pencils, and we saw what other people are doing with the pencils, and like, yeah, I can do it, you know. So that was why we actually got into pencil art at the moment. Yeah, at that time, I believe that was why I got into pencil art.
Stuck to it.
Yeah, getting into it, it's more deeper than the surface layer. Like when you go into it, you start seeing that it's deeper than really what you just saw from far, something like that, right? So it's deeper than that. So when you keep diving into, like for me, when I kept diving into it, you know, I started finding these layers that were not there when I just started, right? And it's something I really love at the moment. I want to get into the peak of my mastery in pencil drawing.
Pencil drawing.
Yeah.
What about the charcoal, the graphite? How do you do all that? Because
Okay,
it's
so
it's really important that we do that.
Okay. You know, we categorize pencil drawings as well, charcoal into pencil drawings, because charcoals are also pencils. They come in pencil forms, right? Yeah, they come in pencil forms. So when we talk about pencil drawing, we don't just put it as only the HB we see in schools, right? Even those are graphite pencils. Even those ones as well, they are differentiated into different grades, like the HB, the 2B, the 4B, the 6B, then the charcoal pencils. They are still pencils, right? Yeah, at the moment, I don't draw with the charcoal we used to cook. It's actually charcoal pencil, but it's made of charcoals, right? So that's why we call it charcoal work. So most times, when I use the powders, right, I grind the pencil wax and then use it as a medium, right? So that's actually how I use the pencil and graphite, charcoal and graphite.
And Chinendu, Favor, thank you so much. I'm seeing your work. Amazing job indeed, you know, looking at those beautiful pictures that producers are putting on the screen. But let me ask you, I can relate a bit when you were talking about how you started and, you know, stories like that. But what would be the first, for you, what would be the first drawing or probably first, you know, object, image that any artist must master?
The first drawing every artist must master, I'll say learn how to draw shapes. Yeah. So first of all, in the journey of realism, I usually tell my students it's more like a stage. You don't just become a master that very day you started drawing, right? You have to go through these processes, right? So before you go into detailing, you know, creating your works to look like human beings and realistic, right? That's the word. You have to start from the beginning. And for me, it is, first of all, it's lines. The horizontal, the vertical lines, the other kinds of lines, the curved lines. You have to practice those line drawings. So when you start practicing it, you see that your hands start getting, I don't want to say strong, you start getting used to that very pattern, and then you move into shapes. Because the human structure, or any structure actually in the world, can be broken down into shapes. And when you can actually break down subjects into shapes, it becomes very, very easy for you to represent them realistically, because we are actually drawing light, you know. We are drawing light. So if you can understand where the light is coming from, or pointing at on that shape, you can actually make it realistic. That's the secret. But first of all, start with lines. Go to the shapes, and then go to the tones. Yeah.
Well, I do understand that you have your YouTube page, you have your community on the social media platform where you teach a lot of people, you know, how to become a creative, a good artist, as the case may be. Why did you venture into that in this stage of your life?
Okay, I actually have the passion to share knowledge, because during the time I started, that was during the COVID-19 period. You know, I went online, I messaged a lot of artists, a lot of creatives, a lot of professionals, and 90% of them didn't give me any response. You know, 90% didn't give me response, but the few that actually did, you know, I've seen the impact that it has made and still making in my life. And without those people, you understand, without those people in my life, you know, I would have struggled so much. I know a lot of people that started with me in 2020, but now they are not yet advanced, you know. They are still struggling with some basic things because I believe they don't have that guidance like I had the opportunity to have. So seeing other young creatives going through those kind of challenges, it's more like a heartbeat for me to help them, you know, to tell them this is actually what I've been through. Like, I know the steps to help you get to where you want to. Because some days I go out and I cry. I'll be like, I remember the last time there was a day I actually cried. I was like, what am I doing? Like, how can I get this? How do I do this right? I'm watching a lot of videos on YouTube, but I was not getting things right, you know. So it's actually very depressing to an extent. So I don't want to see other artists go through that kind of thing. So everyone I have the opportunity to get across to, you know, I just help you in any way I can, yeah.
What are the basic tools? You've mentioned, you know, the 4 steps. You talked about lines, you know, shapes and everything. But for the tools, what are the basic tools you think anyone that wants to start drawing should have? And how do they go about it?
The basic tool I believe everyone who wants to start drawing should have, just have your pencil and your paper. That's actually it, right? That's it. That's what I started with. You know, you don't really need so much at the beginning. If you can have it, why not? But if you don't have it, don't use that as an excuse, right? Just have your pencil and your paper.
Yeah, but there are techniques to it. You're not just anybody that gets pen and paper. What are the key techniques that every aspiring artist should learn? I mean, I can get pen and paper, and I remember recently when I saw my siblings, they were like, "Do you remember when I was growing up, I liked to draw Chinese-looking people?" I didn't know they remember I like to draw women, you know. I like to draw women in nice clothing. So they thought, okay, I will go into fashion with the kind of sketches I was doing. So you said pen and paper, but what are the basic techniques that some aspiring artist should learn? Like if I want to be an artist.
Okay, thank you. The basic techniques you need. First of all, before you go into techniques, you have to understand what you're doing, right? Because having that understanding of the principles helps you go along better with the techniques. As an artist, we are drawing light and its relationship with its environment. So for me to really create something realistic, like a portrait artist, I'm not talking about abstract art, I'm talking about realistic art. For me to create something realistic, I have to really understand how light works on a subject. All right? So having just your pencil and paper, that's like your basic tool. So when you talk about the techniques, right, you have to now, because they are also mind techniques, you have to now know or learn the positioning of light on your subject. And when you know these things, it helps you into the next level, which is now your shading. Yeah, so how you make things look as though it's skin. It's not skin, it's actually pencil shades. Yeah, it's pencil shades, right? But there are basic shades you have to learn. So like, let's say the scribbling method, the cross-hatching, the hatching, those are techniques, different techniques, and you don't learn them in a day, you don't master them in a day.
Slowly get there.
Yeah, you just slowly get there. But if you have the understanding that you're drawing light, it becomes very easy.
What are the practice exercises that they should know? Because I'm sure we have practice exercises that artists, you know, go through. What are the practice exercises that they should know?
Okay, so my mentor would always tell me, just draw, right? You say draw. But some of the practice exercise you have to do now, it's, you know, in the aspect of redrawing light, you start with smaller subjects. Let's say like an apple on a table. You know, you place a light towards the apple, right? When you see that apple there, as a young artist who really wants to grow, ask yourself, where is this light coming from? Where is the shadow being casted upon? Then when you've drawn your sketch outline on your paper, I'm just using an apple for an example, you can use different kinds of objects, right? But when you now put it together, and you've understood, okay, this is the light and this is the shadow, right? Then you use your pencil, your shading techniques, like you can use the scribbling, the cross-hatching, the hatching, or use your charcoal powder or the graphite powder, any one you really want to use. So the technique I would say you should be practicing is drawing light, right? Like the apple now, draw that apple, draw the shadows, and draw the light. Does it look really realistic to you? Does it really look good? Did you identify it properly? You understand? So you just be drawing subjects from time to time. Smaller subjects, yeah, from time to time. Might be an apple, might be a cup, you know, it might just be a figure, the ear, the nose, the mouth. Yeah.
I've been to an academy, and
Yeah.
the children there first of all learn with the eye and the ear. That's what
Yes.
they learn. When they master that,
Then they move to other
they move to
Yeah.
other things. Now, what are the common mistakes in pencil drawing? I mean, how can one avoid? I know you have a pencil there, you have a sketching pad, like you just use the 2B or 3B pencil and you erase it, right? But what are the common mistakes that, you know, artists can make using
Pencils.
doing this drawing, or no mistakes at all because it's pencil and you have an eraser?
There are mistakes. Yeah. First of all, let me just say there are mistakes. But if you make the mistakes, it doesn't mean your art is ruined. Yeah. It doesn't mean your art is ruined. It's a step for you to grow. Right. And the common mistakes artists are going to be making. First of all, is drawing an accurate sketch outline. Let's say you want to draw for a client, and the person said, "Please draw my mother. She's smiling, and you know, I want to do this for her birthday." And then you drew that subject, right? And it didn't really resemble
The mother.
the mother, you know. So having wrong proportions in your sketch outline is a very common mistake a lot of artists, you know, encounter. So, but there are methods and techniques for you to get good sketching techniques. So like the grid method, you know, the freehand method, some use projecting as well. So there are different ways for you to get good sketch outline. You know, in 2021, I had a particular time of, I won't call it real deep depression. I was really steeped in low self-esteem due to the fact that, you know, my friends or some friends around me, you know, it was more as though they were advancing in career, in academics. I know I was like, where are you in this world, right? And at that moment I was alone. Like my parents, they traveled, everybody went out. So it was more as though I was just with my mind every single day. I was being tormented every single day, coming on social media, creating works and all. It was so bad, right? I'm a Christian, I believe in Jesus, and I also believe in the Holy Spirit. So at that moment, the Holy Spirit was very vital in my life, right? While drawing, even most times, even when I don't even have the opportunity to reach out to mentors or people, you know, I pray before I draw. And the Bible also told us that He's going to send a comforter to you, a teacher. And at that moment, He comforted me in a way I could never, ever imagine. And, you know, I had some serious encounters with God, and He really told me about my art career and what to do and why He has given me what He has given to me. So it gave me a vision to what I'm doing. So whenever I'm straying away from that part, I know I'm straying away from that part. So the message I put in my artworks, the revelation of my personal encounters with God, right? And the truth He has given to me, and I've seen it in the society. A lot of young people, you know, they go through this phase of low self-esteem, depression, lack of direction, confusion. Everybody wants to be like the other person. You want to do what other people are doing and all. You know, but there's something I heard. God can lift you with whatever you have. Once it's in your hand, right, He can actually use it. And